Okay. Factors, chapter 2, right, revision. Okay, so out of the chapter, what we've learned is you can factorize in one of 4 ways. Okay, so you can take out what's common, and you always try this one first. So always try and take out what's common. And if there's nothing common, then it's one of the other 3 ways. But this is always what you try first. Okay, then if there's nothing common, right, it's probably grouping terms, which is 4 terms. It could be a quadratic, which is 3 terms, normally an x squared term, an x term, and a number, right? Or it could be the difference of 2 squares. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of examples of each one, right? Okay, so the first one is the easiest one, but it's the one you always try first. Okay, so you take out what's common. So you look at a number, there's a 4 and an 8, there's a 4 common. Sorry, before you even do that, I'm going to write this as x squared means xx, right? Y squared means yy, right? And over here I have 8xy. So then let's look at the number. Out of the number, there's 4 divides into each one. So there's 4 common. Out of the letters, there's an x in each term, and there's 1 y in each term. Okay? So out of the first term, the 4's gone outside, one of the x's is gone outside, one of the y's is gone outside. So you're left with an x and a y. Then this sign is the same. 4 by 2 is 8, and the x has gone outside and the y has gone outside, so that's your answer. Okay, so let's take out what's common. I'm only doing one example of that because that's the easiest one. Okay, right. Now, if you have something like this, you try and take out what's common. So you look and you see there's nothing common to the whole line, right? So there's nothing common to the whole line. So that means it's one of the 4 options, okay, or one of the other 3 options. Okay, so if I go back to this, so there's nothing common, so it's not number 1. So if there's 4 terms, it must be number 2, and there's 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means so grouping means you pair them up. So you pair 1 with 2 and 3 with 4. Now you can move them around if you wish and do 1 with 3 and 2 with 4, okay? But it's whatever you find easiest. So out of the first 2, there's a 12 and an 8, so there's a 4 common. This is AA and this is AB, so there's an A common. So 4 by 3 is 12. It was A squared, took one of these out, there's still an A left. Here, 4 2's are 8, the A is gone out, but there's a B left, right? Out of this one, right, there's 9 and 6, so there's a 3 common. There's an AC and a BC, so there's a C common. So 3 by 3 is 9, and the C is gone, but the A is left. And 3 by 2 is 6, so there's a 2 left, and the C is gone out, but the B is left, right? Then you notice your brackets are the same, right? If they're not, you have to go back and start again because you've made a mistake, right? So when the brackets are the same, you make up your first bracket from the bits, as in there's a 4 here, 4A here, a plus 3C, right, and then there's a 3A and a minus 2B, okay, and that's your answer. Okay, I'm going to do a second example of grouping terms again, okay, so here we go again, here's the second example, okay. So you look and you say, is there anything common to the whole line? There's nothing common to the whole line. Please note, I'm always trying this first, okay? So there's nothing common to the whole line, so it's either 4 terms, 3 terms, or 2 terms, and it's 4 terms, which is grouping. So you put the first 2 together and the second 2 together. And as I say, you can move them around if you want, right? So out of the first 2, there's an X common. What's left? A 3A and a minus B. Now, out of the second 2, there's there's a Y common, okay? But this sign is a plus, and I want it to end up being a minus, so that means I have to take out a minus Y. Okay, now it's the same as when you're multiplying in by a minus. When you're taking out a minus, you're dividing by a minus, so you change the signs inside. So the Y is gone, you're left with a 3A. Now this must change to a minus, because imagine you're multiplying back in. A minus by a minus is a plus, right? And the Y is gone out and there's a B left. So then your 2 brackets are the same, so your first bracket is made up from the bits, which is an X minus Y, and your second bracket is 3a minus b. So that's that one done. Okay, right. Next examples, right, these are examples of quadratics, which is type 3. Now, okay, so if I something like this, x squared minus 9x plus 20, okay, take out what's common. Again, I'm trying the first one, take out what's common. There's nothing common. So that means it's a quadratic. So what you do is you're looking for the factors of 20, so you're looking for the factors of 20 that add to give me 9. So the factors of 20 that add to give me 9. So you can have 1 by 20, that add to give you 21. You can have 2 by 10, which is add to give you 12. Or you can have 4 by 5. So I'm looking for 4 by 5. Because 4 by 5, because this sign is a plus, it's 4 by 5 add to give me 20. So you change the 9x into a 4x and a 5x. Now when you're adding them, you're giving them the same sign, and you give them a minus and a minus. And minus 4x minus 5x will give me minus 9x. So I haven't changed it, I've just split it up. So that's x squared and a plus 20 at the end. So then there's 4 terms, you pair up the first two and you pair up the second two. Out of the first there's an x common and you're left with x minus 4. Out of the second lot there's a minus 5 common. Be careful, you're taking out a minus, which means you have to change the sign inside. That becomes an x, that becomes minus, and 5 fours are 20. And now your brackets are the same, so you make up your first bracket from the bits. So it's x minus 5, and your second bracket is x minus 4. Okay? Right. I'm not sure, I think that's a 7. I'm not sure though. Yeah, it is. Okay, so second example, right, again you're looking for the factors of 30. This time the factors of 30 that subtract to give me 7. So 1 by 30 subtract to give me 29, no. 2 by 15 subtract to give me 13, so no. 3 by 10 subtract to give me 7, so that's my answer. Okay, so my factors are 3 by 10. So this 7x in the middle, I split it up into a 3x and a 10x. Now when I'm minusing them, I'm giving them different signs, and you put whatever that sign is with the bigger number. So plus 10x minus 3x will give me plus 7x. So that's x squared and a minus 30. So then you pair up the first two and you pair up the second two. So out of the first two there's an x common, you're left with x minus 3. Out of the second two there's a 10 common and you're left with an x minus 3. So the first two are, you make up the first bracket from bits, so that's x plus 10, right, and x minus 3. Please note in both these examples that the coefficient of x squared, as in the number in front of x squared, is a 1, as in there's no number there, so it's a 1, right, it's understood to be a 1. Okay, so what you do when the coefficient in front of the x squared is not a 1. Example here, the coefficient of x squared is a 3. So what we have to do is we have to multiply 3 by 3 gives me 9. So it's actually 9 I'm factorizing. Okay, so I must have written this down wrong now because that's not going to give me 14. So that's an 8, isn't it? Sorry, that's an 8. So you go 8 multiplied by 3 is 24. So we're looking for the factors of 24 that add to give me 14. So factors of 24, 1 by 24 gives me 25. 2 by 12 add to give me 14, so there's my answer, 2 by 12. Right, because 2 and 12 add to give me 14. So you split this up into a 2x and a 12x. A plus means I'm giving them the same sign and they're both going to be a minus. But don't forget, I have an 8x squared here at the front and I have a plus 3 at the end. So out of the first two, pair them up. Out of the first two, take out what's common. So there's a 2x common and 2 4s are 8, there's still an x left. And the 2x, it's completely gone, so that means there's a 1 left. You can't have nothing. So if you take everything, there's a 1 understood to be here. Right? I'm taking out a minus 3 here. right? So 3 4s are 12 and the x is still left. I took out a minus, so this has to change to a minus, and 3 1s are 3. Okay, so your factors are 2x minus 3 are the bits, and the other is 4x minus 1. Okay, another example here where the coefficient of x squared is not 1. So what you do is you multiply 9 by 10. So 9 by 10 gives me 90. So I'm looking for the factors of 90 that subtract to give me 1. Remember, there's a 1 understood to be in there. So you're looking for the factors of 90 that subtract to give me 1. So that's obviously 9 by 10. So you're splitting that 1x into a 9x and a 10x. Because you're minusing them, you're giving them different signs. So put the minus with the bigger number. So minus with the 10 and the plus with the 9. So that's plus 9 minus 10 will give me minus 1x. So you have a 9x squared at the front and you have a minus 10 at the end. So out of the first, take out what's common, it's a 9x. What's left? X plus, everything's gone out, so it's a 1. And here I'm taking out a minus 10, and what's left? X. I took out a minus, that changes to a plus, and 10 by 1 is 10. So your brackets are the same, so your first bracket is 9x minus 10, and your second bracket is x plus 1. So that's type 3. Okay? Then finally, type 4. So type 4, again, you look at these and you try and take out what's common. There's nothing common, right? So there's nothing common. So therefore and there's 2 terms, so therefore it must be the difference of 2 squares. So it must be the difference of 2 squares. So the rule for that is it's something to be squared, take away something to be squared. So it's 2x, all to be squared, take away 3y, all to be squared. So that would be 2x and 2x, 3y and 3y, and a plus and a minus. So each term and then a plus and a minus, or a minus and a plus, the order doesn't matter. Okay, here take out what's common, there's nothing common, so it has to be 2 terms, it has to be the difference of 2 squares. So that's 1 to be squared, take away 7x to be squared. So that's 2 sets of brackets, 1 and 1, a 7x and a 7x, and a plus and a minus, and that's your answer. Okay, so that's the 4th type. So just to recap there, right, always try and take out what's common. If this doesn't work, try count the terms. If there's 4 terms, it's going to be grouping them, do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 together. If it's 3 terms, it's going to be a quadratic, right, and if there's 2 terms, it's going to be the difference of 2 squares. Okay, finally in this chapter, they asked me to use factors to simplify. Okay, so what we do is we factorize above the line and or below the line. So if you can factorize both, you do both. If you can only factorize one, you just do one. So above the line here, it's always try and take out what's common. So there's a 2 common, so I'm left with an x minus 3. Right? Below the line, there's nothing common, right? There's 3 terms, so that means it must be a quadratic. So I'm just going to factorize it down here. So x squared plus x minus 12. So I'm looking for the factors of 12 that subtract to give me 1. Remember, there's a 1 there, right? So the factors of 12 that subtract to give me 1 is 4 3s or 12, right? So I'm splitting this up into a 4x and a 3x. Doesn't matter which one you put first, the 4x or the 3x, no, you'll end up with the same answer. I'm minusing them, I'm giving them different signs, put the plus with the bigger, so do a plus 4 and a minus 3. Plus 4 minus 3 will give me plus 1. So that's x squared minus 12, okay, and then pair up the first 2 and the second 2. So out of the first 2, there's an x common, you're left with x plus 4. Out of the second 2, I'm going to take out a minus 3, and I'm left with an x, that becomes a plus, and 3 4s are 12. And my brackets are the same, so then that's x minus 3 times x plus 4. So when I factorised below the line, I ended up with x minus 3 times and multiplied by x plus 4. So x minus 3 and x minus 3 cancel, and on top I'm left with a 2 and below I'm left with an x plus 4, and that's my answer. Okay, so that's chapter 2 revised.